got through 6, now it's 7, and it is Meal Prep Monday. Seanna Thomas is here with some of her favorite family soup recipes to warm everyone up. And boy, these are tasty, and they look pretty. So let's start off with the curried butternut squash soup.
Yes, so a little bit of a different take on the butternut squash soup. It's a classic this time of year. Butternut squash is one of my absolute favorites. The flavor is amazing. So what I do is I roast the butternut squash, and what that does is intensifies the flavor by drawing out some of the water.
Okay.
And it also makes the cooking process a little bit faster. So as we were talking about how this is cooked, so onions and carrot and garlic go into a pot. You cook that down a little bit.
For about 15, 20 minutes?
Yeah, not even. I'd say you're just sort of sweating out the onions and cooking up the carrots. They don't need to be completely cooked because you're going to also cook it in that broth.
Right.
And then you add in all those spices and flavors, the curry powder. I add turmeric and the red pepper flakes. It gives it a nice little kick. Then we add our roasted veggies and our broth. We bring it up to a boil, simmer it for a little bit, and that is where you just blend it up. So I use an immersion blender. So you can blend it right in the pot. It makes it nice and easy. And then if you want, you can add some cream or coconut milk, which is what I did with this one. Or if you don't have an immersion blender, you can use a regular blender, but definitely use the ones that you can open up at the top. You put a paper towel or something on top to allow the steam to escape. Because if you have one of those ones where it's like you're just making, you know, those upside down kind of like ones
those,
that are just for smoothies, there's nowhere for the heat to escape and they can like burst.
Okay.
And you don't want to burn yourself, so we don't want to do that. So definitely either immersion blender or regular blender with that top open.
Or let it cool before you do the...
Or let it cool. Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, such a good soup. If you want to try that, it is so good and creamy.
Before I try it, though, I'm going to let you move on to the high-protein leek and potato soup.
Yeah, so this is my husband's favorite soup, leek and potato. I love leeks at this time of year. You can find them. They look like this at the grocery store. If you've never used a leek, they're basically like a mild and sweeter onion. And what you want to use is the white and light green part. So these are kind of tough, these parts at the end. You can use them if you're making a broth or something like that.
You can save them
for flavor, but they're really tough, so you don't really want to eat them. They don't blend well in a soup. And you want to make sure when you use a leek, you're cutting it down the middle like this, and then making sure that there's no dirt in here, because how they grow, so you can see there's little specks of dirt on the inside. So you want to make sure that you're cleaning them really well before you add them into any soup or recipe. Because there can be dirt in there. So and this one
on that end, how much do you take off?
Oh, just the very, very end. Very, very end, right here. Just
I
like
would
that.
have gone right up to the green, so I'm glad you told me that.
Yeah, you can use that whole white part, and the flavor is so, so delicious. So I do use onion and leeks in this recipe, along with garlic, and then a whole bunch of, I love yellow potatoes, like a Yukon Gold or something. The flavor is so unbelievable. You cook all that down, again, add broth.
Do you roast the potatoes?
I don't, no, I just add them right in. So this one's super, super easy. And if you want to keep it vegetarian, you can use a vegetable broth, but I use chicken broth in both of these. And then again, you just blend it up. There's no cream in here, but what I do to add a little bit more protein, because we were talking about sometimes soups don't really fill you up. You feel like you have to have it with a sandwich or something else, or a big crusty bread, which is totally fine.
Still would do that.
Yeah, I know. I would still do that too. But you can add a can of rinsed and drained white beans. So white kidney beans, navy beans, something like that. Add them in right before you blend it. Another good way to add some more protein is a whole block of silken tofu. And you cannot taste the difference. You cannot taste the difference. It actually tastes like you've added some cream in there.
Yeah, a little
it
texture.
Gets really silky, really creamy. And then you have some more protein in there, so it really fills you up. It's so good.
So where do we find these recipes? Because I'm going to need them.
Yes, all these recipes are going to be on my Instagram and Facebook. Here, let me just...
Some of my favorites, too.
There you go.
Absolutely my favorites of the season.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Seanna Thomas Nutrition, all one word. They'll be up there this week. You can find them. And then you'll have all these delicious fall soups.
Oh my gosh.
For this cool weather.
So good.
Delicious.
I love it.
Wow,
I love it, yeah.
what magic.
Guys.
We need
Cheers,
this
thank you.
after
It's
the
a soup.
weekend.
I know.
Soup, there it is. Soup
We're all gonna
party.
cry into our soup.
Soup, there it is.
All right, we'll be back with more on CB24 Breakfast
Double fisting
right after
soup.
this.